Cool. Thanks so much for joining us, man. It's good to.
Oh,
Good
you're,
to talk.
you're
Yeah.
very welcome. Yeah, thank you for your
Excellent.
time.
Yeah. Thank you. So whereabouts are you at the moment? Are you in Japan at the moment?
Yes, now I'm in Tokyo, so it's 8 p.m.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's 7 p.m. here. Pretty close. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in Western Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Um, I'm keen to talk about the new album, but if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind going back to some of the earlier stuff before we get into
Sure,
it.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. Let's do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. So back sort of 1989, 1990, how did Sigh begin? How did it all start?
Well, actually, we started as some cover band at university. So, we were just playing the songs by the bands like Death or Whiplash or Death Row and what else? Destruction, So we were just playing for fun, just for fun. But well, after we played for a few months, I thought, it would be a good idea to start writing some original music. And that's how, Psy was born in early 1990. So to be honest, Psy was not a very ambitious band. So, we never thought we would be able to release any album or anything. We never thought we would be able to play in the big festival in Europe. So, it was, pretty much unexpected for us.
Mm. Yeah, well, so how are the early shows? Like what was you're saying you were playing in cover bands, playing metal songs and stuff. What kind of scene was going on back then? Like in Japan, was there opportunity to play very much?
What you mean the Japanese underground scene?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, because it was early 90s, so it was the same everywhere. Everyone was totally enthusiastic about death metal and grindcore. So it was a beginning of the death metal boom. So to be honest, I personally, feel a little bit isolated because I still, when I was listening to a lot of thrash metal from the 80s, so-called evil stuff, pre-Master Puppet stuff, like, Venom, Hellhammer, Sodom, but nobody cared about, that kind of music anymore. So, well, probably Abigail was the only other band who cared about, 80s thrash metal back then. So, yeah, it was not a very comfortable time for us, at least.
Okay. So, what was it that really broke through? Because I know, like, the EP and the first album came out on Death Like Silence Records. How did that all happen?
Well, actually, I sent our demo in 7-inch EP to all the record labels from all over the world I knew of. But actually, I sent the demo to Dead from Mayhem. But it was Euronymous who wrote back because Dead killed himself. Oh. And to be honest, Euronymous was the only one who showed interest in signing us because, as I said, all other labels were totally into death metal, upcoming new things, and nobody cared about the bands influenced by early thrash metal from the 80s. So Euronymous was the only one who wanted to sign us. So there was no choice. We immediately said yes to his offer. So that's how, we signed to them.
Yeah. Did you have much interaction with Euronymous back then?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, I had no opportunity to see him in person, but we often talked on the phone. So even just 3 days before he was murdered, we talked on the phone. So it was a very shocking, incident to me when he was murdered.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's crazy. If we jump forward a little bit, 2001 Imaginary Sonic Scape, Century Media album. That's when I came late to the Sigh party. That's the first album I got into. It's a different sound again, that kind of eclectic, psychedelic, rocky metal thing. Do you remember going into that? Like, was that born of jamming, or was there a decision that, like, we want to kind of incorporate these other sounds in there?
In the late 90s, we were kind of sick of black metal image because black metal became a big boom in Japan too, and so many bands are trying to, they all of a sudden started having a corpse paint and that kind of thing. So we wanted to get away from black metal image a little bit, after Hell Horror Hell. So probably the fourth album, Scenario for the Dread Dreams, was the album which we tried to try to erase the black metal album. Then so Imaginary Sonicscape was the next album. So yeah, because I was totally into the 60s and 70s rock back then, and I started collecting some vintage keyboards from the 60s and 70s. So yeah, I wanted to mix some psychedelic feeling from the 70s, and at the same time I didn't want to have a black metal evil image anymore. So that was how the Imaginary Sonicscape was born. It was that's what we wanted in early 2000, I guess.
Yeah, cool. And then if we jump forward again, 2018, Air to Despair, you learned how to play the flute for that one. I play a few instruments, but I don't play any wood, any wind instruments. Was that a steep learning curve, learning how to play the flute?
Well, yeah, because the reason I wanted to play flute is, again, the rock from the 60s and 70s, even Black Sabbath. Tony Iommi is a good flute player, of course, Jethro Tull, and the Black Widow. I'm a huge fan of Black Widow, and they use flute as some like in a very evil way. So I wanted to recreate the sound of Black Widow, and I was not sure if I would be able to play it because I was already 40 something. So I don't know if it was a good time to start up a new instrument. But anyway, I tried, and I even took some the official lessons from the classical flute players, and well, luckily it worked. So yeah, I think it was a good timing, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And then we jump forward again. Sheiki, am I pronouncing that right? Sheiki?
Yeah, Sheiki,
yeah.
Yes.
Sheiki, cool. So that's our August 26th, this Friday on Peaceville. Another great label. You're in good company there. You got Mayhem again, Dark Throne, Mork. How'd you get together with Peaceville?
Well, actually, I've known Paul Grandwell, who is the CEO for Peaceville for a long time, maybe more than 20 years now. And a few years ago, I visited London and met Paul again. And they talked about the possible re-release of Scorn Defeat. And it actually happened. And after that, Peaceville released Eastern Darkness, which is a collection of our early works, early demo and 70s EP stuff. And those two are a great experience. They did a great job to promote those albums. And it was very easy to work with them. So, why not,
Yeah, that's great. If you don't mind, tell us about the concept. I've read some of it, but tell us about the concept of Sheiki.
Yeah, Sheiki, a large part of the album is about my personal fear of death, because now I'm 52, and unfortunately, death becomes something real. Because I have been dealing with death and that kind of topic even from the very beginning. But when you are 20 or 30, death is scary, but it's just a fantasy. It's like a horror movie. Of course, you could die at the age of 20, but still, it's not easy to imagine you actually die. But now, things are totally different. Unfortunately, some of the friends already died, and I just lost my dad last month. So death is a harsh reality now. So this time, I wanted to express my fear of getting old or fear of death as honestly, as straightforwardly as possible. So that's the concept of the album.
Yeah, excellent. And you've got Frederick from Creator, and of course previously Dragon Force shredding on there, and Mike Heller from Fear Factory. How'd you get together with those two guys?
Well, the biggest reason is the pandemic, because when I started writing these songs for the album, it was early 2020. So it was also the beginning of the pandemic. So I didn't think we would be able to go into the studio to rehearse or record the album. And I knew Mike Heller from Raven and Fear Factory had his own studio, and he was able to record everything at his place. So I asked Mike to play drums for us, and luckily he said yes. Then after that, our own guitarist was supposed to record his part, the guitar. But he started acting very strange. I don't know why. Maybe because of the lockdown or pandemic thing. But he was very, very slow in answering. So sometimes he took 3 or 4 weeks just to answer my email, which was not good because, as I said, now I'm already over 15, and I don't think, unfortunately, I don't have much time left to make a lot of album for the rest of my life. So I couldn't waste my time on just waiting for his reply. So unfortunately, I had to fire him. Then Fred has been a great friend of mine. He loves Japan, so he often comes to Japan, and whenever he's here, we hang out together. And of course, he's a great guitarist and he's a great bassist too. So I asked him to play the guitar and bass for us. And then Mike and Fred are the great friends too. So, it was a great combination. And I can't thank them more because thanks to them, the Sheiki is, now it's a next level compared to the last albums, I guess, for sure, because they didn't have any technical limitation. So I was not frustrated at all during the recording. That was a great experience.
Oh, great. Yeah. And I read Nozomu Wakai.
Yes.
So she's joined now, yeah? So how'd you get together with Nakomi?
Well, actually, I've known him for a long time, and he's a great guitarist, and he can do. He's a designer too. So now he designs the backdrop for the stage, and he can do a lot of things. He can play the guitar very well, and as I said, he can do some visual planning. So yeah, definitely the current lineup is the strongest for sure. So I'm very happy to have him on board.
Yeah, excellent. And talking about the album, I listened to it today. It's fantastic. It's great. So songs like Sheiki track 4, it breaks down into this kind of electro synth section and then into like a sluggy moshy section. It's fantastic. How do you write? Like, do you go in going, okay, I'm going to make these kind of changes, or you just kind of feel it out and see, think, well, we'll go here next,
So what I do when I write songs is very simple. First, I write the songs, then I program them on MIDI. Then I keep listening to the songs again and again to see if they flow well enough. If not, I change the structure. Then I keep changing the arrangement and structure until I feel and they are 100%, perfect. So the only thing I can rely on is my ears, nothing else. So there's no formula or composition technique. All I do is just keep listening to the songs, and that's it.
Oh, that's good advice. That's great. Yeah. And so there's a couple of videos already. We've got the Satsui and the Mayonaka no Kai.
Kai, yes.
Kai, sorry, yep. That's really great. There's lots of prog elements in that one. Yeah. Did you have much input into that animation, like the thing that accompanies it?
Oh yeah, because the video was done by a Romanian artist named Costin Chiarino. I don't know how to pronounce his family name, but he's a great artist. He did a lot of artworks for so many bands in heavy metal scene. Probably the most famous heavy metal artist right now. And the song Mayonaka no Kai is a bit off topic, and it's not about a fear of death, personal fear of death. It's based on my actual strange experience. So long story short, I experienced midnight twice in one night. So you can read the details at the end of the video or in the booklet of the album. So, it was a very, very eerie, strange, and scary experience to me. So, and I knew Costin would understand what I wanted for the video. And he did a great job to recreate how I felt, what I experienced in a very scary and psychedelic way. So yeah, I think that is the perfect visualization of the concept of the song, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the details at the end are fantastic. It's such an odd story, but it's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Do you have any more plans for other videos from this album?
Yes, there's one more coming. Yeah, we were supposed to shoot it in August, but I got COVID, so now it has been postponed. But yeah, we're gonna make another one for sure.
Oh, great, cool. How do you think Sigh's changed over the years? Like when you look back from this most recent album way back to when you started, like what's kind of changed the most, do you think?
Well, of course, as a musician, as a player, I grew up and I evolved a lot, I guess. And of course, digital technology has evolved a lot. So, in the 90s, you never thought you would be able to record everything, almost everything in your bedroom. So now, we don't have to play the instrument under the pressure, under the time pressure. So that's we can take our time as much as we want. Probably that is the biggest things that's changed. But people may think Sigh's albums are different from album to album, but I think there's something common in common in whole through the albums we did. So our first concept was to mix the beauty and the ugliness, and still the contrast thing. I think that is still our main theme in our music. So yeah, we changed partly, but still some of the parts stayed the same, I guess.
Oh, that's cool. If you don't mind me asking, what kind of hardware and software are you using at home to record?
Well, I use Pro Tools.
Oh yeah, cool, nice. And what have you been listening to at the moment? Like, what kind of things are catching your ears?
I don't know. Somehow these days I listen to a lot of thrash metal from the 80s and hardcore stuff from the 80s. I don't know why, but I'm not in the mood for proggy experimental stuff these days. Probably, I don't know why, but I'm stressed a lot. So I want to listen to some aggressive, extreme music these days. So I'm revisiting a lot of the thrash metal from the 80s, which I was listening to when I was a teenager.
Yeah, that's great. Are there any chance of live shows at all?
Yeah, now we are talking about some European dates for the rest of this year, but the situations are very, very unstable right now because of the COVID and then the war. The airfares are insanely high, so things are not easy for us, because we live in the isolated country. So always the airfares are the problem, but we will find a way to make it happen for sure. So yeah. There was a talk about touring Australia in January. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but hopefully we will come to Australia sometime in 2023.
I hope so too, mate. Yeah, that'd be great. Well, I'll be there. I'm definitely keen.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Look, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Everyone watching at home, the links are below. Definitely check this album out. It's killer. And yeah, best of luck, man. Hopefully we'll see you here soon.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.